Thank you. Lebanon Economic Development Commission meeting, March 13th, 2023. We're going to have an opening. We'll call to order, and we'll stand and say Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Calling roll of officers.
We're all present.
Thank you. An election of officers. Entertain a motion. Thank you.
Make a motion. We appoint Kevin Van Horn as president.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. I make a motion for Brad as the vice president.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
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 And I make a motion for Mike Kincaid as secretary.
I'll second it. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Old business?
Nothing from me.
Nothing from me.
New business? Public hearing on the New Cold Phase 2 project. Ben?
Good evening, EEC members. I'll give you a really quick overview of what's happening with this Phase 2 expansion. As you guys probably recall, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we had a meeting very much like this on the Phase 1 project for New Cold, which is now construction is complete, and we did a final inspection just a few weeks ago. So they're, from my understanding, is they've got frozen food in there stored, and it's fully operational. So immediately on the heels of the completion of the Phase 1 project, they are now planning a significant expansion, a Phase 2 project that will add another about 300,000 square feet to the building. So we're coming back with a very similar process, looking to support that with a developer purchase bond is the term for it, and so going through that process for the TIF bond, and that's what we're here for tonight, is both to hold the public hearing related to that process. So that's a real quick update for you.
Thank you.
Commission members, I thought what may be helpful is I'll go ahead and read the resolution before we open up the public hearing. And as Mr. Bontrager indicated, this is dealing with Phase 2 of New Cold's facility. So Resolution 2023-01 is a resolution of this Economic Development Commission making certain findings relating to the financing of the economic development facilities for New Cold Indianapolis LLC and approving the financing and forms of the documents related to it. Whereas the city is authorized pursuant to Indiana law to issue revenue bonds for the financing of economic development facilities. And those funds can be used for the acquisition, construction, installation, and equipping of the facilities. On October 9th of 2017, the Lebanon Redevelopment Commission adopted a declaratory resolution 2017-05, which included, among other things, it expanded the City of Lebanon Industrial Park Development Area. It also consolidated the Industrial Park Development Area, the Downtown Economic Development Area, the DA Lubricant Economic Development Area, the Lebanon Business Park Building number 11 Economic Development Area, the Lebanon Fire Net Economic Development Area, and State Road 32 Economic Development Area, all into a consolidated economic development area. On May 14th, 2018, the Redevelopment Commission amended the declaratory resolution in its consolidated plan to remove certain parcels from it. On October 13, 2020, the Redevelopment Commission adopted Resolution 2020-04, which is defined as the amending declaratory resolution, and it removed certain parcels from the expansion area, and it designated the New Cold allocation area for the purposes of capturing all the incremental property tax revenue associated therewith. It also adopted a supplement to the consolidated plan. Whereas the city has previously issued taxable economic development revenue bonds, as Mr. Bontrager said, and you may recall, and those were the Series 2021 bonds dated June 30th, 2021, issued in the aggregate principal amount of $8,989,000. Those are defined as the Series 2021 bonds and the New Cold project. In order to secure those bonds, on November 9, 2020, the Redevelopment Commission adopted Resolution 2020-06, which it pledged all the tax increment minus certain fees. New Cold Indianapolis or an affiliate has advised the city and the Lebanon Economic Development Commission that it proposes to issue taxable economic development revenue bonds Series 2023 or the Phase 2 project. And that's going to be in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $12 million. Again, that's for the purposes of financing economic development facilities consisting of the construction, acquisition, installation, and equipping of approximate 300,000 square foot expansion to its existing New Cold facility. It's going to consist of highly automated, large-scale cold storage warehousing, including administrative offices that'll serve the local and regional cold storage needs by the company. This project will be in or physically connected to the allocation area. Whereas the Redevelopment Commission is expected to amend its original pledge resolution in order to modify the pledge of the pledge tax increment to pay the debt service on the Series 2023 bonds. This commission has studied the project and the proposed financing of the project and its effect on the health and general welfare of the city and the citizens. The completion of this project results in the diversification of industry, certain creation of new jobs, and the creation and retention of business opportunities. Pursuant to the Act, the financing of the economic development facilities constitutes a public purpose, and the project is an economic development facility. Whereas pursuant to Indiana law, this commission is public noticed of a public hearing which we'll have momentarily. No member of the Economic Development Commission has any pecuniary interest in any employment or financing or other contract made under the provisions of Indiana law and related to this project. Now, therefore, this commission has conducted a public hearing. It will conduct it, and it's considered any and all evidence, comments provided, and the commission hereby finds, determines, ratifies, and confirms the financing of the economic development facilities that are referred to as the financing documents in which you've received a copy of, as well as the issuance and the sales of the 2023 bonds and the use of the net proceeds of the bonds to finance a portion of the project that will, number one, again, result in the diversification of industry, the creation and retention of business opportunities. Two, serve a public purpose and will be a benefit to the health and general welfare of the city. Number three, comply with the purpose and the provisions of Indiana law, and it is in the public interest that the city take such lawful action as determined to be necessary and desirable to encourage the diversification of industry, creation, and retention of business opportunities. And four, it will not have a material adverse competitive effect on any similar facilities already constructed or operating in or near the city. Section 2 addresses that this commission hereby approves the report with respect to the project presented at this meeting and which is attached to this resolution. The Secretary of the Commission shall submit the report to the Executive Director or Chair of the Planning Commission of the City and the Superintendent of the School Corporation. Commission hereby approves substantially, again, the final forms of the amended and restated trust indenture, the bond purchase agreement, and an amendment and restatement of the financing agreement. All this is defined as the financing documents, as well as the form of the ordinance to be presented to the Common Council of the City authorizing the issuance of the Series 2023 bonds. The Commission hereby approves and recommends the City issue the Series 2023 bonds in the maximum aggregate principal amount not to exceed $12 million. Any officer of the Commission is hereby authorized and directed in the name and on behalf of the Commission to execute any and all other agreements, documents, instruments, and perform any and all acts and approve any and all matters as may be desirable in order to carry out and comply with the intent and the conditions and the purposes of this resolution. The Secretary of the Commission shall transmit a copy of this resolution together with 2 copies of the forms of the financing documents and the ordinance to the Clerk Treasurer of the City for presentation to the Common Council with a recommendation that the Council adopt the proposed form of ordinance approving the issuance of the Series 2023 bonds and the financing documents. This resolution shall be in full force and effect upon its adoption. So that's been read, and Mr. President, Commission, that I would, if we could, this was noticed for a public hearing, so if we can open the public hearing.
Having read the document, we'll now open it for public hearing. Anybody like to speak? Having no one present, we'll continue moving on.
Close the public
We'll close the public hearing, thank you. And then we need a motion to have it approved.
Make a motion, we approve Resolution 2023-0.
Second?
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Passed. Any other business?
Nothing from me.
And I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
You're welcome.